Hello, children. Hope finds you all in the best of your health and safety. Today, we are going to start chapter number 4 of Stepping Stone's book, which is Kassim's Old Shoes. This is a very interesting story. I hope you all will love it. But before starting the reading as well as the explanation of the chapter, let's understand the new words. Among the new words, the first one is miserly. Please repeat miserly, which means stingy. One who is very stingy, who is not willing to spend a little bit of money also. The next word is recognized. Please repeat recognized. It means identified. The next word is escaped. I repeat, escaped. You also repeat, children. Escaped. Good. It means ran away from. Let's move ahead. Yelled. Please repeat. Yelled. It means shouted. Another one is eventually. Please repeat. Eventually. It means finally. Next and the last word is despair. Please repeat despair. It means without hope. I hope you all must have understood the new words. Now let's start the reading of this chapter. Scheherazade was a clever, beautiful girl. Every night, for 1001 nights, she told stories to her husband, the king. The stories were so interesting that the king listened to them every night. Read one such story. So, children, the lady Scheherazade used to narrate a story to her husband every night. So, what we are going to read now is the one of such story. A rich miser, Kassim, lived in Baghdad. Kassim's arms were too short to reach his pockets. One neighbor said, "He buries his money in the ground," said another. "Perhaps he thinks it will grow like a plant." "Kassim hides his money in drawers," said another neighbor. "Does he think it will make his clothes smell sweet?" Now, children, the author is willing to say that there was a lady whose name was Scheherazade. She was a beautiful girl and she narrated one story every night to her husband. And the story which we are reading now is one of that. In that story, she told him that there was a miser. Miser is a man who spends less money. Or you can say the one who is not willing to spend money, he just hoards all the money. He just collects all the money. He even doesn't bother to purchase the essential things like clothes, soap, or food. Why? Because he thinks that my money will be decreased. I will have less amount of money then. So Kassim was such a miser and people used to make fun of him. They used to say that his arms are very short. That's why they are unable to reach his pockets to take out money to purchase something important. Or somebody said that he is hiding the money in the ground because he is thinking that the plant will grow and he will be able to have more money then. And others might also say that he is hiding the money in the drawers because he is not at all spending the money even for his clothes, which are smelling so bad. Why he is not spending money? Because he thinks that if I am going to purchase a new cloth, then what will happen? I would have to pay money and my money will be reduced. Kassim was too miserly to buy soap, and of course he did not buy new clothes. Every time a hole appeared in his shoes and in his clothes, every time he mended it. He wore the same shoes for 20 years. He mended them so often that they become huge and heavy. Everyone made fun of Kassim's shoes. Kassim had a bath once a year. And one fine morning, he decided that today is the bath day, so he left his terrible shoes on the steps of the bath and went inside. The servants were good at their job. They washed Kassim with soap and hard brushes and dried him with the soft towels. They rubbed his body with sweet oil. It was hard work. But at last Kassim was posh and clean again. Meanwhile, another man decided to visit the baths. He took off his shoes and left them on the steps. He saw Kassim's shoes and said his servants at the door, "Remove Kassim's shoes." The servants picked up the old shoes with a long stick and he put them in the dark corner. When Kassim came out of the baths, he saw the other man's shoes on the steps. As Kassim was a miser, as Kassim was the miser, so he was not even purchasing his new clothes, he was not even purchasing soap to take bath. And he wore the same shoes for 20 years. And whenever there used to be a hole in the shoe, he used to mend it and wore that again. The same thing happened, and he used to bath only once a year, and it was a day of his bathing. That means a day came when he used to take bath, so he quickly went there and removed his shoes on the steps and went inside to take the bath. Now his servants used to rub him, used to scrub him hard with the brushes and all the things they can use to clean Kassim. And after taking the bath, they used to dry him with soft towels, rub his body with the sweet oil, and Kassim became clean again. But this was really very hard job for the servants to do because Kassim didn't take bath for 1 year. All the dirt, all the dust got stuck on his body, and it was really hard for the servants to clean that. But at last they had cleaned him. While he was taking bath over there, what happened? Another person also came there to take the bath. And when he saw that, oh, there are Kassim's shoes at the on the steps, so he told his servants to remove them from there because nobody liked his shoes. They were so torn, they were tattered like anything, and they were also smelling bad. So he wanted that the shoes of Kassim should be removed from there. The servants also didn't pick them up with hands. They just held a long stick in their hand, put the shoes in a dark corner. And when Kassim came out of the bath, he was surprised to see that his shoes were not there and there were some other man's shoe. So let's see what does he say. "This is wonderful," he cried. "I have often wanted shoes like these." His feet felt as light as in the air in the new shoes. Now, children, you can see that for 20 years he's wearing the same shoes and he has mended them so many times that they became very heavy. So now, what happened? That he wore the new shoes and he was feeling very light. When the other man came out of the bath, his shoes were not there. He soon smelled Kassim's shoes and brought them out of their dark corner. He went to Kassim's shoe shop. "Thief," he roared, "give me my shoes." Kassim had to give the shoes to the man. "If you steal my shoes again, I shall call police." Kassim was very angry and he threw his shoes over the garden wall. An old lady was hit on the road and she died. Her family shouted, "Murder!" The police looked at the shoes. They recognized them at once. So Kassim was arrested. The judge said to Kassim, "Either pay 20,000 gold pieces to the murdered woman's family or you will be hanged." Kassim paid 20,000 gold pieces and was free again. He took off his shoes, jumped on them, and kicked them and threw them into the river. The fish ate the shoes and died one day. The fisherman found his net to be torn, and they were so it was happened only because of Kassim's shoes, because they were so heavy that the net got torn. All the fish also escaped. The fisherman was left with shoes. Kassim's shoes, he shouted. Kassim will pay for my net. The fisherman was huge, strong man. He took the shoes to Kassim's shop and threw them against the wall. The glass bottles fell from the shelves. Your shoes tore my net, yelled the fisherman. He picked up Kassim in his huge hand and shook him like a rat. Now, children, what happened was that when Kassim wore other man's shoe, the other man identified that these smelly shoes are of Kassim. He quickly went to Kassim's shop, threw his shoes onto his face and said that give me back my shoes. And he felt very insulted that I am feeling so ashamed. So he got angry and threw his own shoes over the garden wall. When Kassim threw his shoes over the garden wall, the shoes hit the head of an old lady. Now, as the shoes were so heavy that when they hit the lady died. And her family shouted, "Murder, murder, murder!" And the police was called there. When the police came, they quickly recognized that these shoes are of Kassim because they are so heavy and they are smelling so bad. So, for sure, these shoes are of Kassim. So, they arrested Kassim, and when Kassim was taken in before the judge said that either you have to pay 20,000 gold pieces to the murdered family as the compensation because you have made a great loss to their family, or you will be hanged. Kassim wanted to save his life, so he decided to pay 20,000 gold pieces to the woman's family and was free. But he was not feeling good because he was suffering so much because of his old shoes and the heavy shoes. So he took off them, threw them in the river. But do you think, children, after throwing them in the river, he was safe? No. After the fisherman had left, Kassim buried the shoes in the garden. Soon the news spread in the town that Kassim had buried a treasure in his garden, and a crowd of people were seen looking for it. No one believed him, and eventually Kassim paid each one of them a gold coin to get rid of it. Now, what happened? That Kassim thought that when I threw them in the river, that was of no use. Again, I was in trouble, so he thought that I'll bury them in the garden. And when he was doing so, a crowd of people saw him and they spread the news that he has buried the treasure over there. He has buried the gold and silver gems over there, diamonds there. But he wanted to get rid of the problem, so he decided that I will give one gold coin to every person standing in the crowd and I will get rid of them. But do you think he would have got rid? No, children, he was again in another problem. Let's see what was it. Kassim picked up his shoes in despair and ran to the judge's office. What can I do with these terrible shoes? He asked. He begged the judge to send his shoes to prison. From today, I have no shoes. Please write in your report, your lordship, that Kassim does not own any shoes. He hasn't any money either. The judge watched Kassim go. The miserly old man was walking barefoot. He has learnt a lesson, the judge said to his servant. but keep the shoes. If Kassim is mean and miserly again. So, children, what happened? That when Kassim went with his shoes to the judge, he said that I am fed up of these shoes because every time I am into a new problem because of these old shoes. So he requested the judge to keep the shoes with him and give a legal letter to the people that Kassim has no shoes, so that if anybody has any sort of loss, they will not blame Kassim and ask for money. So he said that please give this as a legal notice that Kassim has no shoes. The judge said okay, and he saw that he has left his shoes there and he was going home barefoot. Then he told his servant, the judge told his servant that I think Kassim has learnt the lesson, but still there is no need to throw his shoes. Why? Because he said that keep them aside at a safe place so that if again he will behave so miserly, they will show him the shoes so that he will be threatened that again things might happen like this again. Right? I hope, children, you all must have understood and must have enjoyed the chapter. Now, your home assignment is read the chapter thoroughly once again. Thank you.